I just saw a post here from one of the chatters. Denise said, jury duty is blah, but plus the lawyers here, she's in Alabama, hardly pick blacks to be on the panel.
Well, this is how it works. Truth be told, there is something called a Neal challenge, all right? And so any given trial, what comes down to is more often than not, what happens is you get, a lot of people call it jury selection, Kysii, but it's actually jury elimination. So on any given case, both parties have the ability to strike a certain number of what's called peremptory challenges, which means that you can strike them for whatever reason that you want. And the number that you get depends on the severity of the charge. So, for instance, down here in Florida, if you're charged with murder or a crime that's punishable out to life, you get an automatic 10 peremptory strikes, but you can have unlimited for-cause strikes. And for-cause strikes are just like what it sounds like. It has to be for some reason. So if you've got somebody, let's say you got a potential juror who's answering the questions and it's a rape case and they've been raped themselves, or their daughter or son was raped, and they're just like, I just don't think I could be fair in this case. That's a for-cause challenge. But a peremptory challenge could be, I just don't like the way you look, or I don't like the way you were looking at me while I was doing my presentation during jury selection. And you can get rid of folks, but when it comes to African-American jurors in particular, the Neal challenge, which is United States versus Neal, says that the person who's trying to get rid of the African-American, if it's an African-American defendant that's on trial, has to give what's called a race-neutral reason as to why it is they're getting rid of that person, okay? And so, truth be told, that's not a very hard threshold to get past, as long as, again, it's supported by something in the record that the person has said. And that goes back to what I'm talking about. It's what do you say when you're at jury selection. And a lot of times what happens is, I have found, and again, have tried in excess of 150 serious felony cases. So I've done over 150 some odd jury selections. I have found that many of our white fellow Americans do a much better job of playing it close to the vest when they are discussing the different questions that we're throwing at them in jury selection. All right. Yeah. Whereas many African Americans, for whatever reason, like either are way too candid, not out of any sense of trying to get off the jury, but just kicking it real, right, or they're trying to get off the jury and they're making comments that will allow them to be excused either peremptorily or for cause. So right, you might have somebody like, let's say you're sitting on the jury and I might be like, Mr. Ingram, so talk to me a little bit about what are your thoughts about race and police brutality in America? Well, bruh, if you get real candid and you say, yeah, race has been the original sin, like Condoleezza Rice said, it's a big problem to this day. I mean, yeah, that sounds good in a blog. It sounds great when we're talking on social media, but that comment might be enough to get you erased off of the jury panel, either from a peremptory challenge or for cause, if you follow where I'm coming from. So right, we have to do a better job of teaching our people to be a little bit more circumspect when they get on those juries, because trust me, many of the whites who are sitting there, you really don't know what they're thinking at all, because they're not going to tell you but so much of what they want you to know, as opposed to, again, a lot of blacks. And again, I'm generalizing because, again, I've had a lot of blacks on juries that have done exceptionally well, have been able to get on, and we go on down the road. But, man, I'm telling you, more often than not, and most black lawyers that I know that routinely practice in the criminal system will tell you the same thing. When they start asking questions like, who has a conflict with the date? Or who just thinks they couldn't be fair? Man, it's us that are sometimes raising both hands, man. You know what I'm saying? Talking about me. Or, yeah, man, I believe all drugs should be legal, man. They should legalize marijuana, coke, all of that, man. You make a comment like that and you're not going to be able to stay. Whereas you might have been a good juror for a cat who's charged with trafficking in cocaine, but the evidence might be suspect, and your experiences as an African-American might resonate back there in the jury box when a defense attorney like I am sitting there trying to explain why it is that we got here in the first place. So, man, I'm trying to tell you, bro, we got to do better. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Woo, man. Hey, we're going to take us a commercial break, man. We get
yes,
back,
sir,
man. We're going to keep kicking it.
All right, bro.
All right. Ignorant-ish mixed with drinks is a deadly combination. LMFAO. Everyday Ignorance is a weekly podcast that consists of a married couple, a set of cousins, 2 sets of best friends, and 2 friends restarting their friendship after years of not speaking because of haters. They discuss everything from current events, sex, and tons of ignorance. Join them every week as they get lit off drinks and turn everything into hysterical ignorance. New episodes post Sunday before midnight. The podcast is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. Want to know what they're drinking? Follow them on Instagram at everyday_ignorance. Follow them on Twitter at ignorance35 to get all the drink recipes. Also like them on Facebook, the Everyday Ignorance Podcast. They post the drink recipes and reviews after every episode. Be sure to tune in. All right, let's pause for a break.
Let Whole Team Enterprises be the #1 source for all your marketing needs. They specialize in web design, graphic design, videography, flyer printing, t-shirt printing, web hosting, and more. For your business or next event, be sure to reach out to Whole Team Enterprises at www.wholeteam.com.
Be sure to get your car serviced by the professionals at ICN Services, located in the Buckhead area of Atlanta. They are a full-service automobile concierge service who are an on-site automobile detailing provider with the advantages of their come-to-you service. Your car can get their needs taken care of while you continue your day. They will take your vehicle to appointments, inspections, repairs, returns, and more. Find them online at www.itscleannow.com or reach them at 404-934-0675.
Go see my guys at Platinum Auto Accessories in Lithonia, Georgia. They can get your car audio needs tight. In addition to the audio enhancements, they specialize in visual enhancements for your car as well. Lighting, rims, alarm systems, remote starts, and more. Visit Kevin and James with some of the best deals in the Atlanta metro area. Conveniently located at 2648 Lithonia Industrial Boulevard, off I-20 and the Evans Mill exit. Also give them a call at 678-323-7888. Mention this ad for a special discount. Friends of the Kickin' It with Kysii show.
You've reached Kickin' It with Kysii show.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is the #1 Chief Rocker Jersey Vern. When I wake up on a Saturday morning, all I want to do is turn into my main man, the Kickin' It with the Kysii show, man, because Kysii is going to bring you something that you really don't know what's coming, but when it hits you, you feel like you've been educated and you feel more of a good vibe within yourself, because Kysii keep doing what he do, the Kickin' It with the Kysii show. Do that thing, Kysii. One love, my brother.
Yo, this is your boy Kysii from the
Kickin' It with Kysii show.
When I want to jam, I'm jamming with Queen Josie and DJ New as they're kicking those vibes.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me and hear me good. If you like sports, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like comedy, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like a different opinion coming from a different angle, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. So join me Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your host, Jelani J.B. Bodie. And of course, my man Lopan on the WaitAMinuteShow.com. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Are you ready? Are you ready? It's your girl, Miss Spicy, host of Spicy Conversations. Join me every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com for some late night talk. I hope you're ready. Spicy Conversations.
Saying to you that we are here today to address the black agenda, an agenda that deals with the needs and suffering of our people.
Yes. You have made it back to the Kickin' It with Kysii show. And, man, we're doing our thing. We've been kicking it with my man, Chuck Hobbs, my Morehouse brother, class of 94. The house. And,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. We've been kicking it, man. We've been having a good time, man. And my man, Chuck, has been blessing us with a lot of good information here. I want to thank everybody that's joined us so far, man. It's, kicking it right now with the Kicking It with Kysii show, joining us on WSMEradio.com. Those joining on XSquadAffiliates.com or Kysii.com. You can find my show at most platforms where podcasts are found. So you can find me on TuneIn Radio. Right now we're broadcasting live on iHeartRadio. You can find me on Google Podcasts. You can find me on iTunes Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts as it's called now, or iTunes with the mobile app, or the Google Play Store with my mobile app. So, however you're listening to, definitely continue to support. I really appreciate the support that you're doing. And if you want to join in with the chat, if you're on Spreaker.com like most of my chat room, be sure to click the chat bubble. You can join right in with the conversation. And shout out to the Morehouse and Spelman alumni that are actually tuned in. We actually shared that amongst our circles here. So shout out to y'all who are in, ear hustling. Come on in the chat room. We waiting on you. So before break, we actually broke down a lot of the we touched the surface on a lot of the issues we had as far as a country and the race relations we're having as a people, with especially with the police state of things. They were actually put here to protect and serve, and things don't always end up that way. And it's sad to say that it's become a serious issue in this country, for the past couple years. So we spoke lightly on a lot of those things, man. But it's crazy, man. And you covered the trial in Oklahoma and Tulsa today. And that was one of the subjects which you already had touched that, man. But it actually baffles me how some of these things which look clear cut to me, like you said, it's all in the prosecution and defense and courtroom, how it played out, and what was done is a good job in the jury selection, and what did they see. It's crazy how that is the determination and outcome of how we're judged and end. You know what I mean? To us, it's like, okay, how can you kill this unarmed black man? Next thing you know, the policeman is off. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It makes no sense.
Absolutely. And what's problematic about it is, brother, is again, it goes back to Jamestown, Virginia, 1619. At the end of the day, there still are so many white Americans who have either a latent, or some of them even have overt biases against black people. And, we've always known that existed with respect to black males, but what we're seeing at an increasing clip these days is that it also extends to black women more and more, and to black children as well. Not saying that black women were not targets of white violence back in the day too. Clearly we know that, from sexual battery to lynching. There were many sisters